Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to Civ 6, a beginner's guide to the Aztecs, or Civ 6 Overexplained. And where we left off, we had just obliterated the very first city of Korea. Now, this will make us public enemy number 1 on the map, so that's consequences you do have to understand. We're gonna kill Korea, and it'll be relatively quickly. You want to keep cities. Sometimes you want to raise, sometimes raising a city, if you get it for free, raising is totally a reasonable thing to do. But if you can keep the city in terms of loyalty, why not? We're not dealing with any negative loyalty here. That's partially because my grievances are so low. And in fantastic, wonderful news, we are super going to be in a golden age next era, which is really, really nice. Now, looking at the city of Tepexcan, I kind of need to think about the AoE city overlap. So that's something I have to kind of think about a little bit. And, you know, this hits 3 cities, it's so many. That's really the question here is what am I going to build in here? I don't really need banks. I have really, really good eco. I mean, banks are nice. They're kind of cool. I don't think I really need them. The city could use 2 more builder charges. So maybe a builder in here could be good. And then maybe get a workshop for great engineer points. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. I'll use up 2 build charges and I'll have a spare one to use somewhere else. Just get the occasional builder. I could also pre-build builders. This is something you can do. And in fact, maybe I will start pre-building builders. When you conquer a new city, you'll usually be presented with a whole bunch of choices you need to make with the city. So if I take an analysis of this city, if I hover over it and look at the tiles that it's working, this tile needs to be improved, this tile needs to be improved, this tile needs to be, this tile, a whole bunch of tiles need to be improved. So this city could almost certainly use its own builder, but I don't want this city to build its own builder. What I would rather do is repair the existing infrastructure, because the important point is here that I will get nearly full value from these buildings when repaired, but they will only cost me a fraction of the normal amount of production to repair them. So it's usually a good idea to go through and repair the basics. In terms of governor title, I don't really have anything else I need to spend it on, except maybe I'll pick up grants for an extra 100% great people points in my capital city. Extra great people points aren't too bad. So our tanks will take a little bit of counterattack damage, but remember, our combat strength is so high compared to the AI that the amount of damage that we will take will be negligible. Now, we could opt theoretically to go pillage all of these tiles and get a bunch of value, but I'd rather just take the cities for myself. Now, what I want to do is get all 3 of my artillery in range of this city with full movement left. So that means I need to kind of do a little bit of railroad construction. So I'll swap these 2 units, pop a railroad down there, and then put a railroad here as well, and put a railroad here. So just kind of building railroads so that more of the tiles around here offer easier movement. So I'm wondering, I have 3.2 movement left, so I can step forward here safely with this artillery. I can put an artillery here and an artillery here. And then I want to move the supply convoys into range, as well as the observation balloon into range of all of my artillery. And then I want to make sure my great general is in range of all of my artillery, so that these guys are hitting all of their bonuses to shoot the city. So 1 and 2 and 3, the city is completely dead. And then we can go ahead and take Yangshan. The city is now mine. We captured a unit for Korea, we captured a builder. And now we're taking a city per turn, just by virtue of the fact that we spent so much time preparing for this war. Let's go ahead and make sure we take out their spare units. And by taking out their entire army, they won't be able to fight back at all. So we've taken out their entire army. We have builders, we have everything we need. Go ahead and start getting more things improved. We will also be keeping this city. And I need to think about, maybe what I do here is I move this guy to here, put a railroad there, and a railroad here, so I can move my artillery up into range of this city, perhaps in this configuration. Because we have to think about carefully moving our units around. Otherwise, I have a tank. And the tank's job is to do a little bit of damage to cities, but mostly to capture cities. That's the role of the tank here, is to kill units and capture the cities. So to that end, things are going really, really well. And in Yangshan as well. Generally speaking, these really, really low-cost buildings are worth getting. I would say just in a general case, just get their low-cost buildings. There's no reason not to. In Palaka, I will go for a campus as well. More science. You can never have too much science. The important thing is here. So I've taught you how to do a timing push, and I will continue to teach you this. But I'm now going to switch over to talking about a science victory. And what are the important things for a science victory? Generally speaking, the important thing for a science victory is having a lot of campuses, having a lot of science, having a decent amount of culture so that you can get to the end of the culture tree. You want a lot of science because how quickly you can win the science victory is almost entirely gated by how much science you can generate. The more science you can generate, the faster you can start one-turning technologies, the faster you'll win the game. So Malinalco has built a bank, and I could choose to build a stock exchange. I don't know if that's what I want to do here. I have the option to build a holy site, an encampment, a harbour and an aerodrome, an entertainment complex and a theatre square and a neighbourhood. This city could theoretically use a neighbourhood. Like, what would be wrong with me building a neighbourhood here? I could build a +3 theatre square. Let's do the neighbourhood. A slightly rarer move, but this city is capped on housing. So I'll do the neighbourhood. And I'm also going to build the sewer here, because the sewer is worth +2 housing. And the neighbourhood is also worth a bunch of housing. And plus, I actually want to build 4 sewers so I can get the boost for democracy. Although, maybe I'll go communism this game. Do I want to go communism or do I want to go democracy? I don't know when these cards were changed. I thought this was +4 production, +4 food. Am I crazy? Has this changed? Do I misremember this? I thought it was 4 and 4 for internals. Do I have some kind of mod? Maybe I just misremember. But yeah, capturing Alhambra does give me an extra military policy card slot. And I'll plug in logistics because that'll give my units extra movement, which will mean my artillery, I'll be able to more easily move them into position because they'll have 5 movement, right? These artillery are extremely mobile, which is exactly what I want. I'm going to vote this down like 10 times to make sure it doesn't go through because I don't want to deal with a military emergency. It's really, really annoying. Yeah, it looks like it didn't pass, so I'm happy to spend those points. We've access to another great person. It looks like it's a great writer. I'll grab that great writer. It's good to pick up great writers because they give you a little bit of science, a little bit of culture rather, not science. But I'm also getting science from them because I have Anshan. I'm suzerain of Anshan, which is a scientific city-state that gives you science from your great works. All right. So I think our goal here is to use the military engineers to bridge across this river and set up for an artillery strike on the city of Daegu, like so. Make sure we bring all of our support units over, including the great military guy, the great general. We blast the city once. We blast the city twice. We blast the encampment for experience. We take the city with the tank. Boom, 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 boom. We keep the city. It's now ours. Since I don't have any units to deal with, I should look into maybe attacking Jinju with my tanks. And I don't want to attack across the river. Let me go ahead and position my tanks in a particular way so you can see the difference. If I attack across the river, the city has 5 more combat strength, so I'll do less damage. So I'm better off attacking from the other side, like so. It might not seem like a whole lot of damage that I'm doing here, but believe me, every time I attack, I'm doing more and more damage to this city. Like, I should theoretically be able to kill this next turn with these tanks. Like, that's how good tanks are at attacking cities. And like, so I should be able to just slam my way to victory here. I got my university in Teotihuacan. I think it would be good to get the zoo. The zoo will give you a lot of amenities, so we'll get to work on that. Remember, zoos give amenities in an AoE. They provide amenities to everything within 6 tiles, 9 for me because I am suzerain of Mexico. In the city of Teo, we have a fully built campus, encampment, and essentially a fully built commercial hub. I don't plan on building stock exchanges. I don't think they're really worth it until quite late into the game, and you need a lot of money. In Wexotla, I think it is okay to go here and grab myself an archaeological museum and a bank. I think I'll grab myself a bank because I like the gold, and then I'll grab the archaeological museum. I have a library in Chalco. I'll go University Bank. I got my campus in Tlaloco. Trying to think what would be good in here. There's not a whole lot that I need, really. I just think building the library and getting the university here would help. And again, any conquered cities, we just build the cheap things. Build the cheap stuff, get them running, and we'll bring builders in from other parts of the empire. In fact, I'm probably going to reassign Liang here. No, it's fine where she is. I do want to do a builder timing, actually. So let me go ahead and change what I was doing in some of these cities. So I want to get all of these builders down to 1 turn, 1 or 2 turns, essentially. And then once they're down to 1 or 2 turns, I'll come back in and cancel them. Then I'll plug in the +2 builder card policy for builders, or +2 builder charge policy for builders. And then I'll finish them. And then once I finish them, it'll be like a really efficient way to build them, if that makes sense. And then I get the extra high, amount of charges without having to have the builder card plugged in forever. There's Kilwa. Kilwa's a really powerful wonder. I talked about it a little bit before, but it gives you 3 envoys and a percentage boost to the resource type of the city-state based on how many city-states you have suzerain of. So, for example, if I have 1 city-state that is a faith city-state, I will get a 15% faith boost in Tenochtitlan. If I have 2 city-states that are faith type, I will get a 15% faith boost in my entire empire. So you can tell that's really, really important. And I actually would like to look for, if I could find a city-state, a scientific city-state that had been conquered by the AI for me to liberate, that would actually be a really good use of my army. There's Valletta, which was a militaristic city-state. Yeah, I don't see one. Looks like no city-states were actually captured, really. Buenos Aires was over here. So I'm in a golden age, and I have a few choices that I could make. If I were to go for a war game here, I would go for 2 arms. This would give me a special casus belli, which would generate 75% less grievances than formal war and can be used immediately. And it would also give me a 15% production towards military units. I mean, like, here's the thing. The game that I've set up here, it's actually so easy for me to go military and like completely just obliterate the world. Like it's like insanely easy. Like it's stupidly easy. I'm ahead technologically of everyone. I have the strongest military. I have an unstoppable military force. You know what? Instead of going for a science victory, yeah, I'm gonna go for a domination victory. Right? It's what the Aztec do best. Okay? Because this ridiculous military power that we have. And to that end, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up 2 arms. So that'll make my future wars a lot easier. I need to think about, how am I going to get my units in position around Yangyung? I can fire at 2 to 3 range. So I'm thinking spot here, here, and here on the floodplains. So using the military engineers quite carefully to extend the railroad, which will give me the movement I need to carefully position around here and then bring up the supply convoy and the Great General so I can blast this city. I actually don't need my 3rd shot. I'm that far ahead. I only need 2 shots. So that'll give me a chance to start actually leveling up 1 or 2 of my artillery every turn. There's another city gone. So we're taking a city every turn or 2 here. This city should also fall soon. Should be fairly straightforward. I will take the promotion and then take the city. And see, remember, I declared this war. Like there's a 10 turn cooldown on peace and there's still 7 turns left on this like ability to declare peace. That is like, this is the essence of a timing attack. This is why timing attacks are so important, because it's a window of power where you literally can't be stopped. That's the important thing about a timing attack. So if I were to think about how do I continue this war, it really is contingent on getting access to more oil. And to that end, there's a bit of oil down here. There's a bit of oil over here and a little bit of oil over here. I can't tell if there's any oil to the north, but it definitely would be getting a settler down here. So let's do this. Let's create... infantry requires oil, so that would be a little bit redundant. It's plug-in resource management instead of logistics. I'll confirm that. That'll help with my oil problem. I think I'll buy a settler over here next turn when I have the money for it and send it down to capture this oil. Capturing more oil means I can expand the size of my empire, my military. So thinking about my capital, it might be good to get a neighborhood in here. Or do I continue to build military units? I could build an aerodrome. I mean, an aerodrome seems pretty reasonable thing to do in my capital right now, actually. I'll soon have access to airports and advanced flight and stuff like that, so making use of aircraft will make these wars even easier. And the nice thing about this domination victory is that all the hard work has been done, right? We did all the hard work managing our empire earlier on in the game, and now it's just about like going through, I don't want to say going through the motions, but like doing the right moves to secure the win. Never sell any of your oil if you're running a deficit. It's literally the thing fueling your empire. It would be nice if units were cheaper to build with production. And I don't really care about who gets the diplomatic victory points because I don't really care about any of this. So Poundmaker got the trade policy. Units are cheaper with production, which helps me. It helps everyone, but it helps me the most because I have the best units. And if my units are the best and they're the cheapest, therefore I win them more. Seems like a pretty simple calculus. Even Korea's cities now are starting to flip independent just due to the sheer loyalty pressure of my cities. Pyongyang doesn't even have walls, by the way. Like, it doesn't even have walls. I can one-shot it with a tank. Put that in perspective. That was probably a mistake because that will lower my combat strength against Korea. But this city only has ancient walls, which should be an easy conquest. Next up is Suwon, and then we'll grab ourselves Poland. So I need to get my artillery over here. I don't have enough rail. I think I can safely go here, and then here, and then here. And if I use my movement speed bonuses, I should still be able to shoot. Who needs experience? You need experience, so I'll get you to shoot. You need experience, so I'll get you to shoot. Then you'll promote. I'll attack with the tank. And then Korea has very, very little left. I think Korea is literally on one city and it's Jeonju and it's going to flip independent. Here's a really advanced tip. If your enemy is on one city and that city's going to flip independent on its own, let it flip independent. Because then I don't get the grievance penalties from killing a player. I don't get the era score either, but it means I can wage war while maintaining positive relations with more people on the map. Unfortunately, I have a cultural alliance with Babylon. And that doesn't expire for 17 turns. So I actually killed Korea too quickly, which was a mistake. So I'll have to redirect to the Ottomans, who I will also probably kill too quickly. Although the Ottomans are a little bit more technologically difficult to kill. They have a little bit more combat strength in their cities, 82, 99, 104. So they'll be a little bit tougher to kill, but I should be able to kill them all the same. Is that how I want to play this? Do I really want to play it that way? I'm kind of second guessing myself. Maybe it would be more interesting. Ooh, 3 oil per turn. John Rockefeller is like one of the greatest greatest that I could have picked up here. That means I can expand the size of my army by 3 units pretty safely, actually. Yeah, let's build research labs. Let's go into tech mode and try to win the game through science. I think it'll be an interesting thing. I think I'll just stop my war at Korea, and then I can talk about the finer points. Because like I could very easily roll over everyone on the map, right? Like because I have the units, I have the military. It's not difficult for me, and I think I've demonstrated that in the fact that I killed Korea in like literally 3 turns. So hopefully that's like a really good demonstration. General tips for using spies, by the way. I kind of talked about this before, but you should just steal gold. Like if you don't know what to do with your spies, if you steal gold 99% of the time, you'll be fine. Because you can steal gold, and then instead of trying to do a heist on a great work, you can just buy the great work from the player, right? Like it's so much easier. So steal gold. If you can't steal gold and you're going to war, listening post. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Do literally anything. It really doesn't matter. The other missions just aren't very good. People will tell you like, oh, top 10 mistakes you're doing with your spies. You should be doing X, and they're wrong. They're just always wrong. So I need to think about which city is going to be. And I think my capital is now going to be my spaceport city. And so this is a particular strategy that I go for in single player, where in the late game now, I'm going to start centralizing all of my trade routes to my capital. And I do believe that I'm going to be going for communism here, because communism synergizes really well with a space race victory. So let's come in here and cancel the builder. I'll get another builder going. So I have a few builders being built across my empire. But I don't actually want to finish them. I want to go through and like check every city every turn to make sure I don't actually finish one of these builders. So now, from my capital city, I want to be I want to be trading for the best trade routes that I can find. So like trading with my ally here is a good one. I want to be looking for production. That's what I'm looking for with these trade routes. Is I want to look for high production trade routes for my capital. I want my capital to benefit from that production. Let's just go kill Jeonju. Boom. Korea is dead. I have killed Korea. I got the era score. I got the grievances. She is now dead. I've taken Korea out of the game. The biggest sore thumb. She's gone. Let's go ahead and promote Pingala with Space Initiative for 30% production towards space race programs. I'm going to have one of my spies, counter spy, in my capital on the diplomatic quarter. And the reason for that is simple, is so that I can defend my spaceport later. So just having him in that position just is really worthwhile. And then all of my trade routes, anytime I see a trade route finish, it's getting transferred to my capital. I'm going to go ahead and set this army to be idle. I'll just like kind of position them all together. Because the army's demonstration, the military exercise is over. We no longer need them. So we can just put them to sleep. The demonstration is finished. And we can go back to managing our economy. So hopefully that guy shows you like how to execute a tank push, how to identify when you can do a tank push, when it'll work, etc. Because I think that was essentially one of the best examples of a tank push, like a tank timing push. We got a stock exchange in here. We want to start getting our research labs. So research labs are really, really key. We also want to get builders, although this city already has builders down to 1 turn. I want to go through and just kind of be glancing over my cities and making sure that no cities are actually finishing a builder. Let's get the sewer and the neighborhood in my capital so I can have a little bit more population room. I need more housing, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. I want to be working as many of these tiles as possible. I still have room for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish population in here. So like maybe 2 more neighborhoods would be the sus to go for. Nice little trick, by the way. Military engineers, like builders, can actually repair tiles. So if your farms get pillaged and you don't have a builder around, but you have a military engineers can do the job. So in terms of technology, the next thing that I want to unlock is rocketry. And for a brief moment, I'm going to pop Reina into my capital. That will take out Pingala. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I'll just put him into Malinalco. That will hurt my science. But the reason I'm putting Reina into my capital is because I'm going to save up 7,200 gold so that I can buy the spaceport with gold, because I have Reina's ability set up for that, right? She has the contractor ability, and 7,000 gold is like way cheaper than having to hard build it. And then that means I can put all of my production into making Earth satellites. So look around for anywhere a builder's about to finish and just cancel that builder for now. Get to work on those research labs until I'm ready to finish ideology and plug in the builder card. Oops, I accidentally finished one of my builders. Yeah, I wasn't able to cancel it. Sometimes you can cancel it before it actually goes through. So I have rocketry unlocked. And if I show you here, right, if I go up to the city of Tenochtitlan, and if I were to actually build this spaceport, it would take 18 turns, whereas I can purchase it for 7,200 gold when Reina is finished here in a couple of turns. Like I can just get a little bit more money, like, hey, give me your money, sell off all my, spare stuff. And I should have the money by the time she's established. Now I want to go ahead and grab the moon landing. and Mars colony. And I need to start ramping my science. And part of ramping that science, what do you do? Let's see. It's James Watt. The factories provide +2 production. This is like my best factory, so I'll just go ahead and upgrade it there. I don't really care about the coal power plant, or the instantly builds a factory plus whatever. I don't really mind that part. I will get another coal power plant. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. And then I'll get a research lab. University completed. Straight for a research lab. Build research labs everywhere. That's going to be my gold scaling, or my science scaling. My science will start ramping up now that I'm actually focusing on it. I'm up to 423 at this point in the game, and you'll see just how big it can get. It's also what I said to your mom. Let's renew our alliance with Poundmaker, and this time we're going to go ahead and take a research alliance. We're strong enough on the world now that we don't need a military alliance. Like, nobody can stop us, so we don't need that extra military power from that. Oh, I forgot to change my government. I forgot to click the change government button. This is why I just always forget. I forget. I'm going to pay the 140 gold. I'm going to take out triangular trade. I'm going to take out forced modernization. I will keep in resource management. What I want here is the builder card. And this is going to be plugged in basically for the rest of the game. Republican legacy is fine. Levy en masse would be nice for the extra gold, as is logistics. I guess logistics is also kind of like equal here. I don't really care actually about oil, so I'll just put in logistics. So I'm just kind of changing my government slightly. And now I can go ahead and finish all those builders whenever it pleases me. Oh, I accidentally finished one over here. God damn it. I did that a couple of times. So even I don't play perfectly, right? You can make mistakes. It's okay. You're not going to lose the game for making a couple of mistakes. Okay? You'll be fine. Now, one thing that is important here in this stage of the game is for me to remain suzerain of things like Anshan and to keep control of Kumasi. Muscat would also be a really nice city-state for me to have control of here. +1 amenity in cities with a commercial district. That's really, really powerful. Like, that's +1 amenity in every city for me because I built a commercial hub in nearly every city. Like, if you look at the map, right? Commercial hub, commercial hub, commercial hub, commercial hub, commercial hub, commercial hub. Well, that's a harbor. Commercial hub, commercial hub. Like, I have so many commercial hubs, right? In fact, my empire is like disgustingly huge. Like, it's a ridiculous empire that I have. This is not a normal game. But it is an illustrative game that'll teach you a little bit about how to play. Okay, Reyna is about to complete her most important task. I'm about to use Reyna to purchase the spaceport in Tenochtitlan. I'll go ahead and boom, there it is. One turn spaceport. Like, have you ever seen anything is broken? I will go ahead and finish the research lab. And then I'll get to work on the Earth satellite. We're not in a rush to do Earth satellite. It's just kind of part of our late game strategy. So now we can look at the city of Malinalco, grab Pingala and reassign him to the capital. Because Reyna's job is done, Reyna is no longer required, and I can just plug Reyna into Malinalco. It's like a reasonably populated city. So now, Malinalco has finished a really, really important building, the research lab, and the research lab does something really, really interesting. So we have to talk a little bit about specialists here. So you've probably seen all throughout the game that districts actually have like workable slots. Like, you can put people in districts, and they actually produce a resource. And if you want to know what that resource is, all you have to do is if I want to know what people working in a commercial hub will produce, I open up commercial hub and I scroll down to here and it says citizen yields per citizen +4 gold. What that means is if you look down here, every time I click on this number should go up by 4. So 19 becomes 23, and then I can put another citizen in it by clicking again. 23 becomes 27. So that is huge, right? This is like a really, really important thing. And right now, what did I say earlier? The most important yield for getting a scientific victory is science. And I just built my research lab, and the research lab has a really interesting property. It says it right here, citizen yields per citizen +1 science. So if we go ahead and check out a campus district, you can see the citizen yields is +2 science. So that means if we had a university still, okay, let's go to a city that hasn't finished its research lab. I have 26 science. I click on this twice and I go up to 29 science. That's because I have like a little bit of a modifier. I'm actually getting 4 science out of this. Plus I was working a science tile. Let's actually lock these tiles in so I can maybe get a better example. I click this twice and I go up to 30 science. What I want to do here is I'll get +4 science for putting 2 people in there. So I'm basically using 2 people to get 4 science. Now, when you build a research lab, what that means is the maximum amount of science I can get from that is 4. When you build a research lab, the science per citizen goes up to 3. So now I can use 3 citizens to get 9 science in total. That is more than double what it was before. And so now it's really worth it for me to put citizens in here because my city is like really late game. I don't have any more things I need to build. You know, building more stuff probably isn't important. So what I can do in here is I'll unlock all of my tiles and then I'll click this little button here and that will tell the city to focus on science. And then I'll click this button here and which will tell the city to focus on food. The city can't feed itself, but like it's degrowing in 27 turns and we could just build a food market to feed the city. Boom. City is now fed. We're fine. And we're now making 42 science. Like if I unclick this button, okay, 33 science, I click the button, 42 science. So my typical strategy is, once I finish my research lab, I take stock and see if there's any more buildings I want to build. Otherwise, I click this science button, I build a food market, and then I fill my construction tree with campus research grants. We'll talk a little bit more about campus research grants later, but they are important. Same thing in Sempawala. Sempawala has finished its research lab. I unlock every tile, and then I tell the city, focus on science, right? We go from 37 science to 46 science. That's a huge upgrade. The city isn't starving, but I'm going to go ahead and get a neighborhood anyway. There's a +5 neighborhood right there. I'll get this +5 one. In cities that aren't starving, when I put them on science focus, instead of going for food markets, I'll go for shopping malls because that'll give me 2 amenities. And 2 amenities could be a 10% science boost in the city, right? Because if you get enough amenities in the city, you'll get a boost to your science income. So it kind of depends. Like setting up your late game cities for science production. Like we're already up to 523 science and we're only beginning our science ramp. By the way, BT dubs. Again, in terms of envoys, I want to just hold on to things. I don't want to spend them unless I have to. I want to hold on to them because I want to be able to choose which things are important to me. Remember, you can't unspend. You can't unspend them. And now I can start using all of my gold to buy more traders in my capital. That's what the majority of my gold is going to be going for the next foreseeable future. Or for the foreseeable future, rather. There's class struggle. And the reason we're going to be picking class struggle is pretty simple. If we compare fascism, military, lots of military policy cards, extra combat strength, lower war weariness, extra unit production. So fascism is really, really good for going to war. Communism gives you production per population in cities with governors, and a flat 10% science boost across your entire empire. So that's obviously kind of a production and science. Those are the 2 things you need for a science victory. Democracy can work for a science victory if you play around it correctly. I could have bought my spaceport cheaper. I could have traded with city-states and stuff like that. Democracy is a little bit more flexible. It's good for culture victories. It's good for diplomatic victories. It's good for science victories. It's good for... It can be okay for defending. You're better off just defending. You just switch to fascism to defend, honestly. Communism, though, is a government that, to me, says... the rest of the world hates me and I can't trade with them. And so I'm going for a science victory. And so that's why we're going to pick communism here. That is going to radically change our government, but we do get some era score. We're definitely plugging in collectivization. We don't need mercantile legacy. I would love to plug in rationalism and 5-year plan. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe democracy was better. It's 3 and 2. Is democracy actually better here for a science victory? Because if I went for democracy, I could plug in New Deal, which would be a ton of housing and amenities. I think the 10% science is better, actually, if I kind of think about it a little bit. But like in terms of my government, I can kind of get away with not having liberalism right now, like a little bit. Colonial taxes is like really, really good now. 43 production, 72 gold. Military research makes sense to me. Collectivization seems quite good for my capital. Vessel banking also seems really important for my capital. So right now, the entire focus of my empire is making my capital as powerful as possible so I can finish projects as fast as possible in my capital. And now it's a question of, do I want 5-year plan or triangular trade? And I think 5-year plan is maybe better here. So I'll plug in 5-year plan and I'll probably plug out public works in the near future, but otherwise I don't care what the cards are. So I'm going to go through my cities and check cities that have almost finished builders. Well, honestly, this is the government. Like, I don't have to change this government for the rest of the game. Like, this is the government I'm going to have. I literally don't need to change it for a science victory. You could do things in a democracy that you could change, but honestly, I actually don't need to change it. So we finished another research lab. We focus on science. The city isn't starving. We build a neighborhood on a reasonable tile. Then we build a building in the neighborhood, and then we spam campus research grants, right? So that's the pattern that almost all of these cities will follow. Boom. Click on science, build a neighborhood. That's it. Science, neighborhood, science, neighborhood. Move all of our trade routes to the capital. And now look at these internal trade routes, okay? 7 food, 5 production. That'll allow us to grow at a massive, like, impossibly huge city. Now, keeping it happy will be a difficult task, but I think it can be done. Mary Catherine Goddard is one of the most powerful great merchants in the entire game because she gives you +1 diplomatic level of visibility with all of the civilizations, which is essentially like having +3 combat strength against everyone in the game. Incredibly, incredibly powerful. Another research lab finishes, click on the science focus, get to work on a neighborhood, and then come back to the city later. Science focus, build a neighborhood. This is like, now this isn't the exact pattern you have to do every game. This is just a pattern that I've developed that works pretty well for me. If you want to do a different pattern, go ahead, go right ahead, okay? But this is just the pattern that like I really enjoy. All trade routes lead to That's our goal. We want to put every single trade route that we can in there. So every time a trade route is finishing, I'm sending it over there. You can see here, food from trade routes is at 27. Production from trade routes is at 26. I'm hoping to grow those numbers over time. We just got into the information era. We've unlocked the moon landing. Now, we haven't even finished building a research lab in our capital. We haven't even launched the thing landing, but we will. It's coming next. Let's go ahead and get the Royal Society. I'll explain what the Royal Society does when we build it. And now I'm going to start banking gold. And I'll explain why when I start using it. But I'm banking gold because I need to start buying builders. And it has something to do with that other building that I was talking about. So there's the shopping mall. We also have market economy and laissez-faire. We're going to go ahead and change our goal here. And we want to go ahead and make our way towards globalization and social media so that we can pick up the +5 science per city-state you're Suzerain of and the +5% culture per city-state you're Suzerain of. So these are just like really important late game cards. And I would say globalization is the one we want to get first in this particular game because we care more about science and culture. Another great general, just pick him up and put him on sleep. We finished the research lab in this city. We don't actually have to do the focus on this city. We would rather focus on food and production in here. That's going to be our primary focus because we want the city to grow and produce as much population as possible because this is essentially meant to be like a gigacity. Now, the Royal Society is a really important building because what it allows you to do, it adds an extra function to the builders of your empire. If I put a builder on, like if I'm doing the launch Earth satellite and I put a builder on my spaceport, it'll give me like an extra special button I can press on the builder that will allow me to essentially consume the builder and speed up the spaceport project. So this is why the Royal Society is so incredibly important. Now, I know I said I was banking gold, but I'm going to go ahead and buy a shopping mall just because there isn't enough production in the city to do the things that I need to do. But I'll probably buy a shopping mall in Sempawala because the second that it's finished here, it's going to be spamming builders for the rest of the game because this is the city with Liang. Liang gives builders +1 charge, and the amount of production that builders contribute to spaceport projects is based on the amount of charges they have. So that's why this charge card is going to be plugged in for the rest of the game. Additionally, I'm banking gold because I'm going to be buying builders out of this city as well. Food market completed in Malinalco. I don't particularly need the stock exchange. So I'm going to go ahead and start working campus research grants. Campus research grants convert 15% of the city's production into science and great scientist points. So this will be another way for me to increase my science per turn. By the way, I'm up to 900 science per turn by following this strategy. I literally doubled my science. I don't remember when I told you I was starting to do this, but if you remember, my science was way lower when I started. So it's not like I'm making this up. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of experience doing this strategy, and there's a reason it works. We can recruit a great artist. It's not particularly important for our game plan. I'll just go ahead and put him asleep. And I'm not showing you every single thing that I'm doing because it's not necessary for me to show you everything I'm doing. Because a lot of what I'm doing is just kind of repetitive. Like I'm going through and building my research labs, and then I'm switching the cities over to building neighborhoods. It's kind of like a pattern of behavior at this point. Thankfully, not a problematic pattern of behavior, just a pattern. So my spy is going to continue to spy protect on this Diplo quarter. Man, I have so much stress on my gold right now. You know what the city of Malinalco is actually going to do for me? It's going to make traders rather than these, because I have room for 9 more trade routes. It's like absurd, this game. This is the most absurd trading game I've ever had. So we're going to launch the Earth satellite in here. In Sempawala, I would like to buy the now let me have a look here. You're working basically every good tile that you could possibly work. So in my estimation, the best thing to buy in here would be the amenities thing. So I'll buy that as soon as I can afford it. Maybe I can sell some stuff to the AI, sell off whatever I have, queue up a whole bunch of resources, see if I can take their money. AI tends to have just like a lot of money sitting around, so you can kind of like just yoink it off them by trading. And then I can come in here and buy the shopping mall, and now the city has +2 amenities, which gives me a better buffer zone. You want to get the +3 ideally, but you know, if you can't, you can't. It's not the end of the world. I don't know how that cavalry got here, but it does mean now that I have to upgrade or like figure out a unit nearby to deal with this because he's going to pillage my campus, which is annoying. Let's see, where's my nearest tank? It'll take a while for him to get over there, but he should be able to deal with it. Don't you dare. Oh, he did it. He did it. What a jerk. So you have access to modern armor now. I would say modern armor is actually kind of a downgrade from these just because of how expensive it is. It can kind of work if you have like a ridiculous economy. Ezrium is flipped to me. I will take it for the era score, but I don't particularly care about this city, so I'll just kind of queue up a bunch of stuff I don't care about in it. It's also a totally valid choice. It's just like if you don't care about a city, just like queue up crap you don't care about in it. And don't be afraid to like assert your dominance, you know what I'm saying? Like if a city doesn't matter, you just queue up crap. I don't need any more, I don't need any more governor titles this game, so I'll just like pick up a Mani and like slap her in a random city like Kumasi. Now it is worth thinking about. I am flooding the world relatively quickly, so I should probably pick up computers because my CO2 production and use has exploded. Like if I check my coal, I'm using 11 for power. My capital in particular, yeah, like 9 over here, plus probably a couple of points down here, because like power is AoE as well. So like everything that's green here is a powered city. It's a city that red are cities that need power that aren't being powered. So hopefully that kind of puts things in perspective for you a little bit. It can be worth it to throw down like the occasional solar farm. And plus this also gives me an opportunity to demonstrate an important point about putting builders into the space projects. So you can only put builders, if I recall correctly, you can only put builders that haven't used a build charged into this. So I put this builder on this tile and then add production to project. You can see here it says 5 turns and I click and it goes down to 4 turns. So I just added a bunch of production to this. So what I want to be doing, ideally, every single turn, is adding a builder. You can add 1 builder per turn, and that's what you want to be doing in a perfect scenario. Obviously, that's kind of hard to achieve, but if you can pull it off, then you'll be happy. I'm going to go ahead and get an oil power plant over here to fuel my empire, because it's slightly more power efficient than coal, and it also provides AoE production. So, you know, useful. So apparently, I thought it was only builders. Hold on. Am I nuts? I thought it was only builders that hadn't used a charge could do this. Hold on. What does this actually say? I guess you can put builders with less charges in? Okay, I guess I misunderstood how that was phrased. All right, you learn something every day when you play Civ, by the way. Literally every time. So I'm just trading from my capital to every city that I can, looking for the highest production that I can. My capital is currently up to 105 production, and that will continue to grow. I'm going to start building a little bit more solar and stuff like that to try to power cities. Like 2 solar panels per city should be enough to help out with my power needs. Just because I'm going to burn through my coal and flood the world a little bit too quickly if I don't do this. So a little bit of, probably like 2 power stations per city should cover like most of my empire's needs. There's computers. So once you unlock computers, I'm kind of sad that Valletta is dead, because I could have used Valletta to faith purchase my flood barriers. But once you have flood barriers unlocked with computers, it's a good idea to go through your cities. I have a hotkey that lets me tab between my cities and just start building your flood barriers. So I can like tab through my cities really, really quickly. And I have the construction queue open. So that'll let me just build these really, really quickly. And then another thing you can do is also build military engineers to help you build them faster. So it's kind of like a little trick. But there you go. I'm going to use a builder to finish the Earth satellite, and that will completely reveal the entire map for me, as well as give me a bunch of era score. And then I come in here and I can start the moon landing. That'll take 12 turns, which is totally fine. I'll also claim some great people. I'm going to pass on Mary Leakey, because I don't want the tourism part. Unfortunately, I do have to recruit Janaki Amal, which I really don't want to. I wish I could pass on her. It's kind of frustrating that I can't. But as the life of a Civ player, and we're going to continue this process that we've been doing, where we build a research lab, then we build a neighborhood, and then we decide between either feeding or giving our city amenities. It's like a process that we're working our way through. So Janaki Amal, her ability is to give you science based on the amount of adjacent jungle. So if I just like search for rainforest, well, it's called rainforest. What I just want to look for is like 4 to 5 rainforests all touching each other. So if I look around, so like here is like the best one I can find. Like one of these 2 tiles is fine. So I'll just tell her to make her way there, and that should do the trick. Jinju finished a neighborhood. It has plenty of spare food. It's working science. Boom, build a shopping mall. Escape on foot. Another spy was captured. Not the end of the world. I should probably have more spies protecting, but the AI is a little bit incompetent lately. I cannot promise that I will stop spying on you. I will build geotherms as well, because they are worth a little bit of power. And again, military engineers, they do produce 15% of flood barrier projects, as well as aqueducts and dams. So there's certain things military engineers can help. Or 20%, sorry. So if you use 5 military engineer build charges, you can finish a canal, dam, or aqueduct in a single turn. And it also works for the flood barrier building. If you want to finish your flood barrier slightly faster, a couple of military engineers can do the trick. And in fact, I'm going to send my military engineers down towards Ezrium to get that built, just because it's the only other one that I need. Continuing to build like an absurd capital. We're up to 67 surplus food here, by the way. We're up to 109 production. We're still not even capped on trade routes. We don't even have all the trade routes in here. There's Mars Colony. So we have access to the Mars Colony. And what we're looking for now is the final project at the end of the tech tree. So I think these are both unlocked by different techs. We want to unlock robotics and nuclear fusion. We have over 1,000 science per turn, by the way, which is a pretty good place to be. I don't care about Sarah Breedlove. Let's look at all the great scientists that were just recruited that I had no opportunity to get. Neither of those matter to me. This guy doesn't really matter to me either, but I will get him. I should probably choose now to plug in No. Did I never unlock the scientist card? I never unlocked nuclear program. Right, I need to unlock nuclear program. I will pick up this great merchant just because it's era score. Looking at this city, it's got a huge amount of housing room and not a very good food surplus, so we'll work on the food market. And this is just kind of like the build that I go for. It's not like the most optimal, it's not the most perfected build, but it's like a reasonable one. It's one you could pull off in most games. You don't have to think too hard. And it's a great starting point for new players to like, oh, maybe I want to do something slightly different. And maybe you do. It's totally up to you. You can play the game however you like. All right, let's get our extra about 1,200, 1,800 science or 1,600 science or whatever it is. Finish advanced ballistics a turn sooner. And you can see we're up to 1,100 science per turn. Like, to just put that in perspective, the closest player is on 381. That's absurd. Like, nobody, like, people have only just now started unlocking rocketry. Like, this goes to show you why having a huge empire matters. Like, the bigger your empire, the better your empire. Just get that into your head. The bigger your empire, the better your empire. Now, it does come at a significant cost. But, like, here's another really good illustration of, like, why you shouldn't settle your cities, like, really far apart. Like, both of these cities are, like making really good use of their land, and they have tons of overlap between them, but their borders don't even touch, right? So these cities aren't interfering with each other at all. So it's totally fine to settle 1, 2, 3 cities 3 tiles away from each other. It's not a big deal. It only starts to become a problem in like the super late game, and by that point, like, you've reaped the benefits of just having more cities. We have access to nuclear fission now, so we could build nuclear power plants if we wished. It's probably not a bad idea to switch to nuclear power in Malinalco. Nuclear power plants are useful for a number of reasons. First of all, they provide you with AoE science, so +3 science per city within 9 tiles, because I have Mexico. It usually is 6. I lose the advantages of the coal power plant, which is honestly a pretty big advantage. If you look here, the coal power plant is worth 8 production, but I lower my emissions, which will lower my diplomatic penalties, because you can see here I'm getting -15 from carbon emissions because I'm burning so much coal. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to nuclear power to try to make my life a little bit easier. Continuing to feed builders into this, skadoosh, like that, speeding up that, and continuing to buy as many as soon as possible in order to keep feeding them. My capital city is hungry for builders, and its hunger must be sated. So I built an oil power plant in Yangshan, which will consume oil relatively quickly, but we have plenty of time to think that through. And now I'm burning 4 oil to provide power to this eastern half of my empire. And even some of these cities will get caught up in the oil power, at least until I have the nuclear power plant done. And as far as pollution goes, I believe coal is the most polluting. Like, if I go here and look at coal, you can see 1 coal gives you 4 power. And it also gives you 16 CO2 per coal. 1 oil gives you 4 power and gives you 8 CO2, I want to say. And then 1 uranium gives you 16 power and 2 CO2. It's something like that. I can't remember exactly how much it is. Hang on, let's have a look. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember how it works exactly. I can't remember the numbers, but it's something like the numbers that I said. It's like coal gives you a lot. Maybe it's like 4 for coal, 2 for oil, and 1 for a uranium. It's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. But the basic gist that you have to remember is oil is moderately polluting, coal is very polluting, and uranium is not very polluting at all. So if you remember that, you'll be fine. Continue to feed builders in. Remember, we can only do 1 builder per turn. So our goal is to just keep a 1 builder per turn stream of builders heading towards that spaceport. And that's basically all we have to do until we find the final project. Continue to feed builders. There's the moon landing. Now, the moon landing is significant because it gives a 1-time culture bonus equal to 10 times our science per turn. So we just got 11,000 culture. Okay, we're making 300 culture per turn. So that's like, God knows, that's like 30 turns of culture we just picked up. So we're going to race to the end of the tech tree here, which is really nice. And we want to be picking up synthetic technocracy because of the inherent effect of extra power in our cities and a 30% production boost towards all city projects. Let's get to work on the Mars colony here. Not too far away. Once you get your shopping mall done, it's time to start doing your campus research grants to get that science even higher. Use my military engineers to finish this flood barrier to protect these tiles. Integrated space cell is a great card to plug in here. It gives you 15% production towards a space race project if the city has a military academy or a seaport. I do actually have a military academy in my capital. That's just a 15% production boost towards my Mars colony, which is, handy. Continuing to feed builders, continuing to buy builders, claiming great people. Great riders aren't the most important thing for me right now, but I will pick them up if I can. Shopping mall completed. That means we come down here. We do campus research grants. And the shopping mall is to just keep the city from being unhappy. It's really its own goal, only goal. These particular things don't actually matter because I'm about to win the game from science, so I'm just going to completely ignore this diplomatic congress. This is a totally valid choice. You could just be like, I know I'm going to win, so I don't care. I don't care what the outcome of this is, because no one else is going to win a diplomatic victory before I win a science victory. So I just, I elect to not care. E-commerce is a good card to plug in here in our situation. However, it's kind of hard to plug it in over collectivization. It is theoretically better than collectivization, so I may put it in. However, the really important card here is International Space Station, which will give me a 300 science boost. So that one seems pretty important to me. And for the sake of it, I'll just leave collectivization in. But yeah, now I'm up to 1,500 science. 10% of that is coming from communism. And that's further getting modified by 30%, or a bunch of percent because of how many city-states I'm suzerain of. And now I should start spending my envoys. I should start thinking about, I can get you know what? I put 2 points into Brussels. Boom. All of a sudden, I'm suzerain of Brussels, and I get another 5% up here. So this is why you hold on to your envoys, because you can make decisions like this. Let's see, who else could I get a cheeky suzerainty of? Basically, no one, actually. So there's no point in spending mine, because I can't change the current status of the game. Capital is getting 59 production from outgoing trade routes. Now, it is losing 12.9 production from low amenities, but that's, it's not that big of a deal. Let's sell off all of our spare luxuries and stuff like that to pick up a little bit more money. I'll also sell off all of my spare Diplo favor. I'm sure someone out there wants to give me money for it. And then I'll sell off my spare strategic resources, except for oil. Oil seems kind of important to me. It's the only one I have actually a negative consumption of. And the way that I've set my empire up, like here, I'm going to show you a full turn here. And this is probably going to be the last episode, because I should be able to win. It'll take a while, but in terms of actual gameplay changes, nothing. It's all rote. You know what I mean? It's all repetitive actions. I feed a builder in here. I come over here. I finished a neighborhood. That means I go, let's see, the city is starving. I get a food market. Then I come back down here to the bottom, and then I spam campus research grants because I've already set the city up to generate maximum science for me. I come over here. I finished another shopping mall. Well, what do I want to do in here? Well, the city isn't starving, so I should be fine to go for campus research grants. Let's have a look here. Trade route in my capital. Just go for the top trade route. Trade route in this city, move it to my capital. And boom, my turn is over. There was 4 or 5 actions that turn. And this is how it's important to efficiently set up your game to actually be able to get through the turns. Because I have to get through a lot of turns here to actually get to the win condition. There's social media. So I can get 5% culture per city-state I'm suzerain of, although that's a little bit less important than the science one. Because we're literally bottlenecked by science at the moment, because we need to research 2 techs from this unrevealed section of the tech tree to actually be able to finish the game. So we just got our nuclear power plant up, and you can see we're using all 3 of our uranium for 42 power, which should drastically, and I mean drastically, lower the amount of CO2 we're emitting, and just completely, change the course of human history, hopefully. Although do remember to recommission your nuclear reactor every 20 to 30 turns. Let's go ahead and start spamming those campus research grants. We want that science. Oh my goodness, get rid of Republican Legacy and plug in Science Foundations. I completely forgot to plug in Science Foundations. That's so many great scientist points. I'm currently making probably close to 100 great scientist points per turn. That should literally double it. And there's the Mars colony. In the previous versions of Civilization 6, that would have been me winning the game. But we actually have to kind of finish the tech tree. There's optimization imperative. This will give me +3 power in all cities and 30% towards city projects. So that'll help me with my science victory. It also has a much more friendly government setup in terms of cards, which will allow me to play a little bit more optimally. So for example, I want Communist Legacy because it's a decent amount of production. I want Republican Legacy. I definitely want e-commerce for better trade routes. I would like liberalism for extra amenities. And public transport would be quite nice because I've built a lot of neighborhoods, right? So that's a significant amount of food production and gold. That'll help all my cities that are kind of working away there. And what's important is all through this, I have a spy in my diplomatic quarter defending the spaceport indirectly. I could put a spy on the spaceport and indirectly, but this usually just works just well enough. And it looks like we didn't actually find the tech we need. So I'm going to go ahead and research seasteads and then see if that unlocks what we need. It's kind of just gambling to see if I can find the late game tech that I need. It's called Exoplanet Expedition or something. So I guess I have a few turns to mess around here. I could build a giant death row, but I don't know why I would. Maybe if I were to build an entertainment complex in here, it would take up a good tile, but I no longer need this much food. So I think building an entertainment complex for amenities seems like a reasonable thing to do in that city. Entertainment amenities scale. So the bigger the city is, the better they are. The city is starving. I'll get a food market and then work campus research grants. 1,600 science per turn is a very, very nice amount of science. There we go. We unlocked seasteads. Perhaps this has revealed... Nope. Advanced AI we need to unlock. Just want to point out that I'm making 300 great scientist points per turn on average, depending on the turn. No, just a casual 300 great scientist points per turn. Nothing to shock you. I'm going to buy the amenity buildings in here. I'll just get them really quick because now I have +3 amenities in here, which is a 10% boost up to 169 production, by the way, in my capital city. Pretty damn nice. There are ways to get it a lot higher, but it requires you to play in a very different way early on in the game. And there it is, smart materials. This is the technology we were looking for. This unlocks the exoplanet expedition, and then we can just click the end of the tech tree, I'm pretty sure. It kind of depends, though. We shall see. Horatio Nelson, I will grab. I could grab Shah Jahan. You know what? Let's grab Shah Jahan, because maybe I'll go for an Estadio de Maracaña. Hey, how do I pronounce this again? Estadio de Maracaña. Maracana, not ña. Ña is like a Spanish thing. I think this is Portuguese. Very happy with that. We have our stadium in the capital. Let's go ahead and pop down the Estadio de Maracana. This will give us +2 amenities in every city in our entire empire, which is super whacked, by the way. Like, that's an insane ability. Now, where did Shah... What's his name go? Where did he go? Did I delete him? What did I actually do to him? Oh my god. I got to recruit Abdus Salam. He will give me the tech boost to all information era technologies. Not that it matters. I actually don't know what I did with him. Hold on, let me go through my unit list here. Okay, there's Shah Jahan. Okay, I can teleport him. I can't believe I lost my Shah. I can teleport him over here. And the advantage of him will be that we can use him to finish up the Estadio much faster than we should otherwise be able to with our gold. We will, of course, be trading for more raw gold. Okay, there's Exoplanet Expedition. We want to get that started as soon as possible, but how long will it be? Let's see. Grants, production towards wonders, critical... capped at half your current treasury, reduces your gold. So half my treasury would be 1,500. Yeah, I think this would be enough to finish it. Boom. Yeah, one turn. Basically one turning it, and then we can get to work on the Exoplanet Expedition. But you know, we can actually switch these and get a cheeky builder feed in. Boom. Shave 2 turns off that, and then finish the Estadio de Maracaña. Anyway, if you didn't know, you can actually swap things. Like, if you have a builder that can like improve, like make a project go faster, you can actually just like swap to this and do that. Also, by the way, I totally forgot this game. Like, I actually just forgot that I have this ability, is that I can use builders to complete districts. I'd meant to like talk about how useful it is, but I haven't played Aztec in so long that I actually just forgot that I have that ability, and I should have been using it all game. I actually just forgot that it exists. So yeah, never mind about the Aztec Overexplained. Whoops. So if you made it all the way through the series, I'm sorry. I apologize for my grievous error here. I cannot believe that I literally never used that ability once this entire playthrough, and I could have. Because like, a 5-charge builder can finish a district for me, okay? A district right now costs 491 production. A builder costs 260. That's like such a huge discount on my district. I could have been doing that this entire game. That's like such a huge mistake. Yeah, I'm a derp. I'm a derp. What can I say? I forgot, okay? I played this game a stupid amount of hours, and I forgot one thing, and it completely changed the shape of my game. Not that it mattered, because I already won. Like, we're winning. That's actually the dumbest thing I've done in a long time in Civ. But it just goes to show you. We got the Estadio, which is perfect. So that's like, my city should be like super happy now. Yeah, look at that. We're +20 and +10% happies across every single city. Very, very nice. Let's continue to feed builders into the machine and continue to buy builders as money allows. We're in a new era. I will just take Heartbeat of Steam. It just gives me campus districts adjacency is equal to production. Pretty nice. To have like random cities I don't care about work on the Manhattan Project. It's not a major part of our goals. So there's the off-world mission, which is the follow-up missions to the Exoplanet Expedition. Once we finish this Exoplanet Expedition, in the science screen, we will actually launch an expedition, and then it will travel 1 light year per turn. And then after it has traveled 50 light years, we will win the game. So essentially, the second that we finish this project, there's a 50-turn countdown on the game. As long as the spaceport stays alive, I think. I think the spaceport can be killed to stop you. I don't remember. And then I can build these projects here to speed it up. So like, if I built 10 of these, my thing would go 10 light years per sec, 10 light years per turn. Technically, doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but it's fine. And theoretically, having 2 cities dedicated to building these projects can be good. I went with the 1-city version of the style. It's my preferred style because the AI almost never actually pillages your spaceport, especially if you defend it. It's not really a worry. I don't think I've ever lost doing this way. I've been slowed down. The AI sometimes slows me down when I do it, but you know, it's not the most optimal, perfect way to play. I'll be like totally like frank and open about that. It's just like a efficient way that I discovered how to do things that takes like a very low amount of effort. And so that's why it works for me. Now my science doesn't matter so much, but I will continue to do this because there are great scientists like Carl Sagan that will allow me to finish these projects a little bit quicker. But the exoplanet has been launched. So now the countdown to extinction has begun, right? I'm traveling 1 light year per turn. And now I can begin, if I come in here, launching Lagrange laser stations, which require aluminium. There is an important point about these. If you use a builder chop, sometimes you will one turn these projects, or you'll actually finish the project with a builder chop. That's a bad thing if you're using the power version, if you're doing the terrestrial laser station, because then the city will not have enough power to actually fuel itself unless you have an excess of power. And then your exoplanet expedition will actually go down to like 1 speed again. So it's important that you maintain a surplus of power if you're doing terrestrial laser stations, which is basically impossible if you're doing them. And it's why I prefer the aluminium version. So yeah, just like small tips that not a lot of people know about, and it's an issue that I've encountered before. I don't exactly understand how to explain what it is or why it does it, but I just know that it happens. I can't explain it to you. I can't tell you why. I can't even like remember the last time it actually happened to me. I just saw it happen once, and then I moved away from ever doing it again. Maybe it was a visual bug. Maybe it's just like superstition. I've never actually sat down and tested it, but it happened to me. And so, you know, I'm hoping to finish on 2,000 science per turn. That would be quite nice. We're up to a healthy 197.2 production in my capital, by the way. A very, very healthy amount of production. So I want to keep researching future tech because this will give me a 5% production bonus towards all city projects. And these also count as city projects. So it's a 5% production boost towards these things every time I do it. So it's just worth it in my eyes to do it over and over and over again. And you can see we've traveled 2 of 50 light years, and now we're traveling at 2 light years per turn. So there's a 24 turn countdown, right? We've sped up. We've halved the amount of time left in the game, which is a significant milestone. We launched another Lagrange laser station, and so we've going at 3 light years per turn. We've traveled 4, so we have to go another 46. So that'll be another 15 turns. So there is a diminishing return here, kind of, and that like each one that you get speeds you up by a smaller percentage, but it still speeds you up. It still shaves turns off your game, so it is worth it to do. Another laser station is launched. So I'm nearly launching these every single turn, thanks to the builders feeding the cities. It's not exactly every turn. It's like more like every 4, like I'm getting 4 every 5 turns nearly. But now we're traveling 4 light years per turn, and we have 40 to go. So we're down to 11 turns to our victory. So every time we do this, we're speeding up our win just a smidge. And then we're actually going to get a Carl Sagan here, and then he can instantly finish another one of these. So boom, right? We launch another one. And now we're going 5 light years per turn. So now we're going to finish in what? 9 turns? And it just gets faster and faster and faster and faster. It's a race. That's how it works. It's a race. 99% of my cities never built anything other than a campus or a commercial hub because I had so many cities. This is how you play super wide, right? Most of my cities never built a 3rd district because you don't have to. You can win off of 2 districts if you set your empire up correctly to get a lot of culture, right? If you're set up correctly, you could win off very few districts. So just keep that in mind. Now, I think my next beginner's guide is how to win with a small empire. And by small, I mean like 6 cities. So I think that's going to be my next video because it's very easy to win with like a huge empire, but it's quite hard to win with a small one. So I'm kind of excited to do that one. Sitting on a bunch of envoys, yoinking suzerainties that are easy because it's worth extra science. Oh, look at that. 2,200 science per turn. Now that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to behold. More laser stations. Happy, happy, happy. 6 light years per turn. We've 33 to go. So we're down to 7 turns until we win. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about being down to 7 turns until I win. I might be able to speed that up by 1 more turn if I continue to build these laser stations. There is a limit, like, of how fast you can go. Like, realistically, that it just won't make a difference eventually. But we can keep launching these projects. We're going 7 light years per turn. So I'm like 4 turns away-ish? 4? 5? Who knows? I'm close. I'm close to finishing the game. I'm close to finishing the game. It's like, it's a very simple process now. You feed a builder, you buy a builder. Another laser station launch. I don't think I can actually speed it up now. Yeah, I'm winning in 2 turns. So once you're winning in 2 turns, you just press Shift Enter. That'll automatically end your turn with no more actions taken. And then you could just do that twice to win. So bada bing, bada boom, I shift enter, I wait till the game stops doing graphical things, because sometimes it crashes if you do it twice in a row, because the game just isn't ready for you to do it. Press shift enter again, force end my turn. And theoretically, we should see a victory screen here. There it is.
Much as our ancestors did ages ago, we thrust forward into the unknown. The first pioneers set forth on an uneasy course. And yet once again did our people thrive. Now, under your leadership, we plot a new course and make another world our own.
And there you go. That is the end of Civ. Morbus, remember to go back and show the people the beautiful movie. The ranking here, this doesn't really matter to me. The graphs are the fun thing. Because like if you can like, look at this buildings constructed. Oh my God, cities captured. Remember when I went, remember the 4-day war against Korea? I literally captured one city. I don't even remember doing this. I think I stole a city from Korea like super early into the game. And then I beat, like literally, boom, 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 boom. Like these are consecutive turns. I took multiple cities per turn. Like this is like an insanely efficient war. Okay, I just want to like point that out. That was like the most efficient war I've ever declared. I lost no cities. I built a whole lot of districts, and this will be pretty normal in your game. I had a really strong game this time to where I was actually never too far behind the AI, but I actually, because I settled so many cities, I just got so far ahead of them. I mean, like look at the cities founded graph here. Like it's stupid. The amount of cities. And that's just how you play the Highlands map. You just outsettle the AI and you win. As long as you survive the early game, it's basically a guaranteed win, as long as you're not like brain dead. Also, here's the combat, like a decent amount of combat and no combat. And then this is the Korean War. Boom, we beat them basically instantaneously. Player culture. My culture jumps up a lot thanks to various factors. Player era score. I was pretty good on era score. Player gold. My gold jumped up and down at various times in the game, but that's because I was banking gold for particular tasks and stuff like that. My science, science will almost always look like this. It'll look like you're kind of pottering along, and then you get to the late game and you hit your ramp and you ramp and you ramp and you just ramp all the way up, which I did this game. My score ramped from killing Korea, by the way. Look at that. Broom, and then broom. So, like, if you want a really high score in here, you just conquer the world. It's that simple. You just kill everyone, and you'll have a high score, which is why I don't really care about it, because I wasn't trying to kill people this game. If I was trying to farm score, I could have done that. Units killed. Fun little graphs. Wonders constructed. I actually didn't build any wonders here. And this is also a great illustration of why you don't need to build wonders. You can build wonders if you want to use them and if you think they're interesting. But honestly, when you're playing on deity, you're better off conquering wonders. There's a few wonders I would consider worth building, but in all honesty, you're better off. You're better off not. You're better off just focusing on other things. Yeah, that's going to be it for me. I'm PotatoMcWhiskey. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Oh, wait. With Secret Tactical UI, if you want to farm karma on Reddit, you just left-click this button, choose like an aesthetic angle of your empire, take a screenshot and be like, oh, this is my empire after this, blah, blah, blah. You post this to Reddit with like, this is my first win on deity. Look how beautiful my empire is. Thanks, PotatoMcWhiskey. You do that, boom, you've got karma. Okay, I love you all. Bye-bye.